Welcome to the Cenario Podcast, your guide to mental health and well-being. Each episode, we uncover practical tools, discuss expert insights, and explore how supplements can transform your mental health journey. Get ready to learn, grow, and thrive with us.
All right, so you want to do a deep dive on hypersomnia? We got some interesting stuff here. You sent over some articles, and research looks like you really want to understand what hypersomnia is, what causes it, and what can be done about it.
Well, it's great that you're digging into this because a lot of people think hypersomnia is just being a sleepyhead, but it's actually a medical condition, where you have excessive sleepiness during the day, even after you've had what should be a full night's rest.
Yeah, the stuff you sent over really made that clear. It's not just being tired. It's like you could sleep 10 hours and still have trouble staying awake in a meeting or something.
Right.
And that's just one symptom.
Yeah.
Right. There's a bunch of other things that could point to hypersomnia.
Oh, yeah. One thing that stood out to me from the research you sent is how many of the symptoms go beyond just being sleepy.
Really?
Like, for example, people with hypersomnia have trouble waking up. And I don't mean hitting the snooze button a couple times. I mean, like, feeling groggy for hours after getting out of bed.
Oh, wow. That's got to be rough. Your research also talked about how naps don't help with hypersomnia. You could be taking naps all day and still feel totally wiped.
Yeah, and it affects more than just your energy levels, too. It can impact your thinking and your mood. Like, you might have trouble concentrating and just feel foggy or have trouble making decisions. Some people even get more irritable, anxious, or even depressed, along with the sleepiness.
Some of the sources you said even mentioned, like, scary consequences of hypersomnia, like falling asleep while driving.
Absolutely. This is serious stuff. If you're having these kinds of symptoms, especially if it's interfering with your daily life, it's really important to talk to a doctor or a sleep specialist.
So, okay, let's say you do go to a doctor. How do they actually figure out what's causing the hypersomnia? You mentioned different types.
Right. There's two main categories, primary hypersomnia and secondary hypersomnia. So with primary hypersomnia, the excessive sleepiness is the main problem. It's originating in the brain itself.
Okay, so the brain's sleep-wake system isn't quite working right. What are some examples of that primary hypersomnia?
Well, one example is what they call idiopathic hypersomnia, or IH. It's kind of a mystery why, but people with IH sleep a lot, but they still wake up feeling tired, like their sleep just isn't doing its job.
What about narcolepsy? I've at least heard of that one. That's not just about sleepiness, though, is it?
No, it's not. It involves a bunch of other symptoms that can be pretty disruptive. People with narcolepsy, they can experience something called cataplexy, which is a sudden loss of muscle control, often triggered by strong emotions. And they might also have sleep paralysis or even hallucinations.
Wow, that sounds intense. What about that other thing I saw in here, Kleine-Levin Syndrome?
That's a pretty rare one, but
Yeah.
basically people with Kleine-Levin syndrome experience periods of extreme sleep, like sometimes up to 20 hours a day, and it can last for days or even weeks at a time.
Wow.
Really throws a wrench into your life.
So those are all examples of primary hypersomnia, where the problem is really the sleepiness itself. But what about that secondary hypersomnia? You said that's caused by something else.
Exactly. With secondary hypersomnia, the excessive sleepiness, it's actually a symptom of another underlying condition.
Okay, I got it. So what kinds of things can cause secondary hypersomnia?
A lot of sleep disorders can actually contribute to secondary hypersomnia. Like one that comes to mind is obstructive sleep apnea, OSA.
Oh yeah, OSA, I've heard of that. That's where your breathing like stops and starts while you're sleeping, right?
Right. And even though those pauses might be brief, they can disrupt your sleep cycle all night long, and that leads to really poor quality sleep. So it makes sense that people with OSA would feel super sleepy during the day.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about that thing where people's legs move while they're sleeping, restless leg syndrome?
RLS.
Yeah, RLS. I imagine that would mess with your sleep too.
Oh, for sure. RLS can make it really tough to fall asleep and stay asleep, and
Yeah.
so you end up feeling exhausted during the day.
So it sounds like anything that messes with how well you sleep could lead to hypersomnia.
Right.
The research you sent me also talked about our internal clock, the circadian rhythm, and how disruptions to that can cause problems.
Yeah, that's a big one. Your body has this natural sleep-wake cycle, and when it gets thrown off by things like shift work or jet lag, or even just irregular sleep habits that can lead to all kinds of sleep problems, hypersomnia included.
Wow. There are so many different things that can cause hypersomnia. It's not just one thing. It could be a whole bunch of stuff going on. The research you sent even talked about mental health playing a role too.
Oh, absolutely. Depression and anxiety, those are often linked to hypersomnia. And then there's chronic fatigue syndrome, CFS, where just like constant exhaustion is one of the main symptoms.
Right. And I imagine having a brain injury could affect your sleep too.
Yeah, a traumatic brain injury, TBI, can lead to all sorts of sleep problems, including hypersomnia. And even some medical conditions can contribute to hypersomnia. One example is hypothyroidism, which is where your thyroid gland isn't producing enough hormones. That can lead to fatigue and sleepiness.
It's amazing how everything in the body is connected. It
Yeah.
seems like there are a lot of different ways you can end up with hypersomnia. But okay, let's say you do figure out what's causing it. What can you do to actually manage it and feel more awake during the day?
That is the question, isn't it? The good news is there are all kinds of treatment options out there, from medication to lifestyle changes and even some natural approaches.
Okay, let's break it down. Let's start with medication. What kind of medications are used to treat hypersomnia?
Well, it really depends on the root cause and the person's individual symptoms, of course. But some of the common types of medications include stimulants, wake-promoting agents, and even sometimes antidepressants.
Stimulants, those are like caffeine, right? Do those actually help with hypersomnia?
Not exactly like caffeine. We're talking about prescription medications like modafinil or armodafinil, which can increase wakefulness and alertness, but without the jitters or that crash you can get from too much caffeine. There's also methylphenidate, which is sometimes used for hypersomnia that's related to ADHD.
Interesting. What about those wake-promoting agents you mentioned? How do those work?
Those work a little differently than stimulants. They actually target specific neurotransmitters in the brain to promote wakefulness. So two examples are pitolisant and solriamfetol, which can be helpful for some types of hypersomnia.
And what about antidepressants? Why would those be used?
Well, if someone's hypersomnia is linked to a mood disorder like depression, then antidepressants might be part of the treatment plan. They can help address the mood issues, which in turn might improve sleep and energy levels.
It's so interesting how treating one thing can help with so many other things. But medication isn't always the answer, is it? What about lifestyle changes? Can those make a difference for hypersomnia?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, lifestyle changes, those are often like the foundation of managing hypersomnia. Just simple things like creating a peaceful sleep environment, sticking to a consistent sleep schedule, and limiting naps, those can go a long way in improving sleep quality.
That's all good sleep hygiene advice in general. Is there anything specific that people with hypersomnia should keep in mind?
One thing that's especially important for people with hypersomnia is avoiding long naps, especially later in the day. The idea is to try to consolidate your sleep and make sure you're building up enough sleep drive to fall asleep easily at night.
Gotcha. What other lifestyle changes can help?
Regular exercise is huge. Not only does it help you sleep better, it also gives you more energy during the day. And then there's diet, avoiding heavy meals before bed, cutting back on caffeine and alcohol, and making sure you're eating a balanced diet with plenty of nutrients that support energy production.
So it's a whole body approach, taking care of your physical health, mental health, and sleep habits. But what about people who want to try more natural or alternative approaches? Is there any research on that?
That's a great question, and it's something a lot of people are curious about. Let's explore that in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we've talked about medication and lifestyle changes for managing hypersomnia. But what about those natural approaches you mentioned? A lot of people are interested in those kinds of options these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot to consider there. The research you send over highlights a few key areas like diet and nutrition. Did you know that getting enough iron can really help prevent fatigue?
That makes sense. Iron is so important for our red blood cells, which carry oxygen throughout the body. If you don't have enough iron, you're probably going to feel tired and sluggish.
Right. And it's not just iron. Vitamin B12 is another one that's really important for fighting fatigue and that brain fog a lot of people with hypersomnia experience. You can find vitamin B12 in foods like eggs, fish, and dairy products.
You also sent over some info on magnesium.
Yeah.
How does that play into managing hypersomnia?
Magnesium is really important for relaxing your muscles and getting good quality sleep. So if you're low on magnesium, you might have trouble falling asleep and staying asleep, which can definitely lead to daytime fatigue.
What are some good ways to get more magnesium?
Leafy green vegetables, almonds, even dark chocolate.
Oh, nice. A tasty way to boost your magnesium.
Definitely. The research you sent also mentioned omega-3 fatty acids. Those are known for being really good for brain health.
Yeah, I've heard that. How do they specifically help with hypersomnia, though?
Omega-3s can help you feel more alert and improve your thinking skills, which can be helpful if you're dealing with that daytime sleepiness from hypersomnia. You can find them in fatty fish like salmon and tuna, as well as walnuts and flax seeds.
So eating a balanced diet that includes all of these important nutrients sounds like a good foundation for managing hypersomnia.
What about herbal supplements, though? Are there any that can help reduce fatigue and improve sleep? There are a few that have shown some promise. One that stood out in the research you sent is rhodiola rosea. It's an adaptogen, which means it helps your body deal with stress better, and stress is often a big factor when it comes to fatigue.
Oh, that's interesting. So if your hypersomnia is triggered or made worse by stress, rhodiola could be something to look into. What about other herbs?
You also sent me some stuff on green tea extract, which can give you a little energy boost without the jittery feeling you can get from coffee. It has an amino acid called L-theanine that promotes a calm focus.
So it's like a more balanced and sustainable energy source. That makes sense.
Right. And then there's ashwagandha. That's another adaptogen that helps balance your cortisol levels. Cortisol is a hormone that can get out of whack when you're chronically stressed. By managing your stress, you can improve your sleep quality and reduce fatigue.
It seems like managing stress is a really important piece of the puzzle here, whether it's through lifestyle changes like exercise and relaxation techniques or using herbal supplements like rhodiola and ashwagandha. Keeping that stress under control is key for sleeping better and having more energy.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that all these approaches, medication, lifestyle changes, natural remedies, they work best when you've got professional guidance. If you're struggling with hypersomnia, the best thing you can do is talk to a doctor or a sleep specialist to figure out what's going on and come up with a treatment plan that's tailored to you.
That's a great point. Hypersomnia is complicated. There can be so many different causes, and there are a lot of different ways to treat it. The key is to find what works best for you with the help of a professional.
I agree. And remember, you're not alone in this. There are tons of resources out there, including healthcare professionals, support groups, even online communities that can help you deal with the challenges of hypersomnia and get your energy and vitality back.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. Hopefully this deep dive gave you some good insights into hypersomnia and helped you feel empowered to take some steps towards better sleep and more energy.
Sweet dreams.
Thanks for tuning in to the Cenario podcast. Don't forget to visit Cenario.com for more expert tips, articles, and supplements designed to support your mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of yourself.